Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, and today is week 17, day two of Hotel Evening and Weekend Platoon. Today, we're going to talk about improving our models, our neural network models. But first, before we jump into that, I kind of just want to recap training the model from yesterday. Who was your instructor? Jordan, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Cool. Can everyone see my screen? I should be on day one of week 17.
Yep.
Good stuff. What's the synopsis of yesterday or a brief summary?
Do you want to pause the recording real quick? Don't
Yeah,
mind.
sure. Yeah. No, of course. If you want to say something off color,
Yep.
oh, why? Give me a second. I haven't even paused yet. Alrighty. Now that we've taken care of that, let me jump back into the lesson. All right, can you guys see my lesson? I mean, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Should be the GitHub. All
Yep.
righty, so yesterday you guys went over training a model. What's the purpose of training a model? What are you trying to get at? You want the model to eventually be able to do what?
What we wanted to.
Yeah, which for models is just make predictions, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and I'm just going to do a brief overview of the lesson. You talk about creating data sets, right? Uh, Creating data sets or acquiring data sets are crucial to the model training process. Why? Why is having good data sets good for model training? That's not even a specific question. That's just an overarching question, something that you should know the answer to.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
well,
Start. Yeah.
Go ahead, anyone.
Go
You're
ahead.
trying to
uh,
go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
well,
Sorry.
No, I was saying go ahead, Cisco, because he's can't
Stop messing
whatever.
around, guys.
well,
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Cisco.
um, I guess to look for errors and to make sure it's checking for unseen data.
Not quite. I don't care if data has errors necessarily,
Hmm.
right? But the importance of having good data for training models is what? Why is it important to have good data to train your models? Because if you have bad data to train your models, what happens to your model?
It lies.
Yeah, it's a bad model. A training model will only be as good as the data that you feed it. In order of importance, good data is number one. Everything else comes after that, right? All your optimization techniques, the activation function that you choose, right? How many epochs you run, all of that is second, third, fourth, and so on. Make sense? Good data, crucial to the model training process, right? Uh, and sometimes you don't have enough data to train your model, right? Because models take a copious amounts of data to train properly. So what people end up doing in this, and they end up creating data sets. When you end up creating a data set, it must be what? Let's say you're trying to train your model, right? And you don't have quite enough data. So you said, okay, I'm going to create, 50% more data, right? You have to be careful of what?
Just the errors in the data.
No, you're creating it. So we're going to assume you're not going to make bad data. right? But you need to make sure it's representative of your sample, right? Of what you're trying to represent. Yes? It can't be completely different because it's going to, skew, right? Your model, right? It's going to introduce unintended biases to it. So it has to be good data, right? So just questions to think about. All right, you're talking about the training loop, running number of epochs, right? Optimizing, and then you guys kind of talk about the entire training loop, and then going ahead and testing your model. If I was to give you an assignment for this, right? Think of your everyday life. What's something I could tell you to kind of create a model for? Model is just something that you grab some data, you train it, you ask it to give you a prediction. What's something in everyday life you could use? If I asked you to do this with just a little bit of data, what would you try to predict?
How much you need to buy in groceries or something like that?
That could be it, right? If you had your last 10 years of grocery receipts, I suppose, you could project, right? You could do that. What's something more fun that you see all the time on TV now?
Sports betting.
There you go. That's a big one. Sports betting is a big one, right? And there's a lot of services out there, right? That will take historical, and there's an API for this, hint, hint, football scores over the last 50 years, right? And they take everything into consideration. Teams, if your coach is new, where are they playing? What's the temperature? Historically, how has one team fared against the other? Are they playing in a dome? Are they playing outside? Right? And they try to project the score, right? And the better that that model is, right? The more what they hope to make, typically.
Windfalls.
Yeah, money, right? Let's say the over. I don't know how familiar you guys are for sports betting, but let's say there's a bet, the over under of a projected football score is 50 points, and your model is projecting 59 points. Are you going to bet the under or the over?
The over.
The over, right? And there's a bunch of those companies. There's a bunch of discords of communities that try to do that, right? You could, if you wanted to, run a version of that as your personal project if you would like. There are APIs where you can pull the data. I gave the example of football because I love football and football season's coming up, but you could do it with anything, right? You do it with baseball, you do it with soccer. I think soccer's hard, but you could do it with every different sport that you have a lot of data for. Make sense? Did you guys ever, let's see. Guys ever see this? See if it comes up. Guys ever see this? It's not coming up. It's not coming up. That's fine. I'll ignore it. But there was a famous, I think this is a Champions League match where one of the goalkeepers on his water bottle between penalty kicks would go grab his water bottle and had the name of the opposing players and what percentage of the time they kicked it to what side of the goal. So he'd go get a drink and he'd take a peek down at the percent. Oh, this guy kicks it to the right 90% of the time. I'm 70% of the time. He kicks it to the left only 20% of the time. I'm going to dive right. Right. That's kind of like a funny, trivial example, right, of big data and analysis and projections, right? But you could do something on penalty kicks, right? Even because there's a lot of historical data on that, right? And if you ever see the win totals for football or pretty much any season, right, that's what they're doing, right? They're building models that project, oh, this team, given, a plethora of different factors, right, are going to win let's use football for example, because there's 17 games, right? I think the over and under on the Bears this year was 8.5, right? That they have models that, hey, 8.5 is the number where we can get about equal amount of money to bet on each side, and then we take, the VIG, which is what they call the middle portion, and they pocket it for the sports books, right? And then some people think they're going to go over, some people think they're going to go under. But if you develop a really good model and your model is projecting 9.5, 10 wins, obviously you bet the over, right? That's what's happening, or kind of a gross oversimplification, but something like that. Make sense? Yes.
Yep.
I like your example though, Adam. The grocery one was very wholesome. Like that.
Adam's young yet.
Not corrupted. Yes.
I can't go to Costco without spending $400 every time I go there. I don't know how. All right, improving the learning loop. So in this lecture, again, we're just going to cover it with broad strokes here. Introduction. In this lecture, we'll explore techniques to improve the model training process. We are going to discuss activation functions. Is this the first time you have heard of an activation function?
Yes.
Okay. Activation function, just think of it as kind of a little switch, right? Inside your model that says, hey, I am going to send this signal to the next layer in the network, or I'm not going to send it. And if I send it, how strongly I'm going to send it. Does that make sense? Let me give you the example that I gave last time. If you guys get a chance to look at the Titanic exercise, to me, that's my favorite. Definitely take a look at it, right? Let me give you an example of kind of how this function would come into play here. In that Titanic example, who's going to be more likely to survive? A 50-year-old woman that is in charge of cleaning the cabins, or a 25-year-old male that is rich on the Titanic? Which one do you think has a higher probability of surviving?
The man.
Give me all the reasons why.
I think being rich is probably the most relevant reason why he
Why?
would escape first.
Why?
Maybe they would hold the boats for him. Maybe he has some skin in the game in the boat.
Maybe he's just well fed, and that's going to help, right? Yes?
Yep.
Right? He's a male. He's going to typically carry more muscle mass. He's half the age, right? If this was, right? If this information was punched into a training model, right? It's going to send a signal to the next layer, right? Based on just this criteria, right? And it's going to send pretty strongly to the side of the network that says, hey, increase the odds of survivability for the male that's rich, well-fed, and strong. And it's probably not going to send it for the female, right? Because she's got a lot of things against her. She's older. She's presumably cleaning cabins, so she's poor. She may not be as well fed. When she got on the Titanic, she could have already been, malnourished. We don't know, right? So he's going to treat those data points completely different. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Activation functions, incorporating dropout for regularization. What do you think this means?
So sounds like it basically anticipate dropouts, and then if there is a dropout, it will compensate for it to,
It doesn't quite compensate for it. It just prevents overfitting. It drops some of the data points so your model can accurately predict without Okay, this is kind of a hard thing to explain. So overfitting happens when you overtrain your model where it can't predict real world events anymore. It's too specialized to your training data.
Mm.
Does that make sense? So what happens in that, right? You ended up dropping some of what they call, I think they call them neurons, right? You drop some of those data points, right?
Mhm.
So it can kind of fill in the gaps on its own. Because if
Mm.
you don't do that, right, it's just going to be able, right, to guess based on the data and not be able to be applied to real world scenarios.
Let's see.
Make sense? So that's what dropout does, right? It kind of prevents overfitting.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about early stopping, right? Early stopping just prevents overfitting, right? It reaches kind of like the convergence of where you should stop training a model, right? Because if you overtrain a model, it does two things. One, it won't be very good at real world predictions. And two, it's going to cost it's going to actually cost more money to continue to train it when it's actually getting worse in performance. Make sense? So training your model up to the point, right, when the predictions get worse. Does that make sense? I always think about it like this. You ever grab a ball and you throw it up in the air? You ever
No.
think about when you were a kid, you did, Joe.
Just kidding.
All right. So when you grab a ball and you throw it up in the air, did you ever stop to think that the velocity on that ball at one point is zero? When is it zero?
When it reaches the peak velocity and it's about to come back.
The apex, right? At one split second in time, that ball has a velocity of zero. And that's the exact moment that it starts coming down. That is early stopping. You stop it right there at zero before it starts coming down. Make sense? That's the optimal point of training for a data for these models. That's kind of how I think of it. I used to want to be a mechanical engineer. That didn't happen. But that's okay. I made it anyway. Mechanical engineers don't get paid that much. I thought they made a bunch of money. Apparently they're a dime a dozen. I didn't know that. Anyway, all right. So these strategies will help improve model performance. Picking the right activation function, incorporating dropout, right? Early stopping. Those are the main three. Yes?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I am not going to read a lot of this verbatim because I don't think you necessarily need to know it, but I think you need to understand the concept at the very least, right? So the right activation function, not going to talk about this one in particular, but the right activation function will help improve model performance, right? It just allows these models to learn faster. It allows them to learn complex patterns. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It allows them to learn faster. It allows them to learn complex patterns. That's the important thing that you need to know about activation functions. Dropout. What is dropout? Oh, I did get it right. It was called neurons. Just give me kind of the broad structure version. How does this help improve your model's performance? We know it prevents overfitting. but it allows your model to kind of fill in what? Kind of allows your model to fill in the missing data, right? So it gets better at real-time predictions.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
What is early stopping? Not even going to get into the code. I just want you to understand what the concept is. What's early stopping?
Kind of like putting a return statement in your code.
Yeah, that's the right concept. But in terms of training models, what is it? You stop training the model when what is true?
When whatever you want to be true is true.
Not quite. When the model's performance is about to start to degrade, right? Or it starts getting worse at predicting what the real outcome's going to be.
Okay.
Right? Little ball example in the air when velocity is 0. Right? Or as close to it as you can get. Depending on the model, don't think people can nail it every time, right? It's very possible they get a little before or a little after. That's still pretty good. You're probably not going to nail it on 0.000, right? But theoretically, that should be possible, right? Physics teaches us that it is. Then if you go further down the lesson, it kind of talks about implementing it using PyTorch. I'm not going to get into a lot of this, right? Really, the only thing that I want you to know is conceptually what those things are, right? Questions. If I gave you a data set from the NFL over the last 50 years, you think you could build a little training model, a little LLM model?
Theoretically.
What do you mean theoretically? I want you to know if you could do it.
Then no.
LLM's something a little different. I misspoke. A little neural network model. Do you think you could do it? With just what you have learned in this unit.
That's well, I better not use that kind of language.
I'm going to pause the recording. All right, guys. This is what I am going to do for you if you are curious about how you could do this. I am going to scrape together that API that I was talking about from NFL Scores, right? I'm going to pull it. I'm going to post it in the Hotel Evening and Weekends channel. And I'm going to give you a couple of instructions if you care to give it a crack. Make sense?
Yeah.
The first is just going to be pulling all the information from the API, right? Then the next piece will be starting to configure a file to attempt to clean the data, right? Train a model and see given a random game that doesn't exist in 2025, if those two teams played each other, right? Trying to predict the score. Make sense?
Yeah.
Excellent. I am going to work on that right now. But if you want, go ahead and take a break, come back, and really in order of importance, I would put the AWS assignment towards the top. If you've already finished what you were working on from yesterday. If you haven't finished it, whatever that assignment is, definitely start on that because I know it's kind of hard to kind of like context switch from one assignment to the other. That's totally fine. Work on that. Make sense?
Yeah.
The other option is to get started on the back end of your personal project if you have an idea. Does anyone have ideas for that? I haven't got any a solid idea from anyone. Not that you need it, but it would help if you had at least a general idea of what you want to do and some functional APIs. Does anyone have that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we all spent some time on it, right, guys?
Yep. I got
Joe,
it.
are you just saying that to not get anyone in trouble?
I'm dead ass. No, we did.
All right, let's
I
hear them.
actually built-
Let's
I
hear
actually
them. Let's
built
hear them.
mine.
We're gonna
Um,
go around, and I want to hear Joe, just put everyone on blast. I'll go around, and I'm gonna hear your idea, and I am gonna be awfully critical of it if I don't think it's good. Go ahead,
all
Joe.
right, that's fair. I would say, how I will always lie to protect the fan, but in this case, I think we all actually spent time, so I'm pretty sure we have ideas. But
Okay.
mine is going to be a crypto wallet, also like a portfolio tracker that has so it'll have like the CoinGecko API built into it, so it can track the current market prices, but also Grok4's API to give like some market analysis, like based off X like Twitter feeds and like price predictions. So it'll probably be way too ambitious for me, but I'm gonna try it.
CoinGecko has a public API that you can ping without a security token.
Mhm.
Are you rate limited on it?
That I'm not sure about. That's a good question. I mean, I'm gonna have to pay for Grok4's thing, but I figure I just kind of want to screw with it since it's brand new. But those are going to be the two at least that I'm going to use.
Crypto API? Oh, you just need an API key that is
Yep.
free, is my guess.
Yep. And you can
Okay.
get a free API key for Grok, but I think you have to pay for the credits, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So you're going to update your dashboard in real time?
Yeah, and then also it'll serve like as an actual wallet. So there's a company called Dynamic.xyz. They have like a wallet SDK that you can connect like a bunch of different non-custodial wallets like MetaMask and Exodus to it. So I'm gonna try to build it with that. We'll see. Coinbase has another version as well, but I don't know if I can use Coinbase's if I can get a free API key from them because I don't want to use like any of my personal stuff for them.
Okay, that piece sounds complicated depending how they do authentication.
Oh, I'm sure the entire thing is going to be very complicated and
Uh,
overcomplicated too.
I think your CoinGecko, that one is pretty straightforward. My only issue is when you start creating the dashboard, how you're going to handle pagination. I think it's going to be interesting because that's kind of like something no one ever thinks about. That's kind of hard.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so CoinGecko, that one's pretty straightforward except for the pagination issue if you run into that, which you probably will. And then I would just build out the CoinGecko one piece first. And if for whatever reason you can't get the dynamic wallet piece to work, pull another API to complete the assignment and just pass. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you could do the CoinGecko, not an issue. But that second piece, that's going to be tough. I think you still might be able to do it, but I would build out that first part first and make sure that you're good. You have like a MVP that's going to be pretty close to passing the assignment, and then add the wallet piece, right? Because in my head, those are just two different pages anyway.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, for sure. Adam, what do you got?
Mine is
Damn
really
it, Joe. Yours was good. Nice job. Sorry, Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
mine is really,
Oh, sorry. I was ready to dunk on you, dude. All right, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
mine's related to my work. It's trying to make something that shows like you can make a pool cleaner. Okay, hold on. I'm explaining this bad. It's going to show all the pool cleaners that we have in our business, and it's going to show all the customers as well. And you're going to be able to like add to the pool cleaners, and it's going to make you give all the information. And then same thing for the customers. And I wanted to use the Google Maps API and the weather API so that if you click on the customer's address, it's going to take you right to it on Google Maps and whatnot. So you know where it is. You can just go there. And I wanted the weather app to show like what the weather is that day that you're going to go service it. So you can see if the weather allows it to be serviceable or not. Like for starters, that's what I want to do.
That's dope. Make the weather API your second choice. I hate when people use the weather API. It's too easy almost. It's like no one's going to check that. You're just going to check your phone. Your idea is good, but you're going to need a better second API. Make sense?
Got it.
I would build out everything in that application with the exception of the weather piece and see if you can find some different functionality, a more complicated API or more interesting API to use. The number of people that have used the weather API coming through coding boot camps, not just this one, but all of them, is sickening. Sickening, Adam. Don't be one of them unless you absolutely have to. You're right there at the wire. You got to turn it in 10 hours. You have nothing else. Then sure, throw up the weather API. Make sense?
Got it. You know, my
All
other
right.
one, the other API that I kind of wanted to use, but I wasn't confident enough is there is a wholesale supplier, pool supplier around here, and I asked if I could like access their API. They said they'd think about it. So like that's what like I wanted to be able to like list what they had so you could order it from the web page and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Dude, they're just gonna let some random just access their API like that? I'd be
They
surprised
know
if they
me.
gave
They
you
know me.
access. Oh, they know you? I don't know. That seems like I don't know about that. Yeah, that'd be dope if you could use it. I don't I'd question their security practices over there if they actually let you. All right, that works. Nicole, what do you got?
So I'm planning on using the Google Maps API for locations and then the places for the most part, and then attaching the Florida State Parks API, the inventory one, and possibly the campground one to get more information. But the idea is you can look up all like the public boat ramps, campsites, kayak put-ins, and all that stuff for where you're going based on like a Polygon search. And then if you find a new one, you can add it and save it.
Did you say the Google Maps API?
Maps.
Oh,
Sorry.
Maps. Okay, Google
So I
Maps
think there's
API.
like 3 or 4 actually of the I got my key and I was looking through some of them the other day. Like there's like the places API, the static
Yep.
map, JavaScript. There's a whole bunch of them that I have to attach there, but I just wanted to use that as a display. And then I'm gonna attach the Florida State Parks inventory one. And I've already looked at that one and I'm cutting a lot of it out because I don't need to know the amount of acres that these things are and stuff like that. But it has all the locations for like boat ramps, catwalks, piers, stuff like that, where you can launch a kayak or a paddleboard off of.
Very, very cool. You want to display the location of all those places?
Yes, so like I've actually found that some of them aren't on Google Maps when I'm looking, and I use like 3 different paddleboarding apps. So I'm trying to essentially make one that I can do everything that I go to all 3 for.
Very, very cool. Very cool. The Google Maps API to display all those and get them playing well together on the UI, I've seen it be kind of clunky. So that's probably going to be your biggest challenge. I think you can accomplish all of it and it's doable, right? But how it looks on the UI, I think is probably going to be the biggest challenge for you. Because I've seen similar versions of what you're describing, and it's always just clunky. Like if
Have
you
you
can integrate it all together into one sweet UI, that'd be dope.
have you seen people use the like because I know ArcGIS has a free version of their API as well. I think it's like
Uh,
QIS or something.
I'm not that familiar with that one, but the forest one people have used before, and Google Maps people use all the time.
Okay. I was like, because I know I was talking to actually one of the people at work is a data analyst, and she was formerly geospatial data analyst, and she was telling me that instead of using Google Maps, she prefers to QIS.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've never even heard of
They
that.
have
That'd be
a
dope.
free version, like because so you don't need to pay for the ArcGIS license, but they have a free version that you can get to. So I was like, I might have to look into that, but I just went with Google Maps because it's what a lot of people use. So I was like, I know they have that. But that one, because the Florida state parks and a lot of the state parks, even I looked into the national state parks one as well, they all run off on ArcGIS already. So like their APIs are already designed to be put into ArcGIS because that's how they currently display them. So I was gonna see how that worked too. But I have a little foundation set up, but I'm still playing with the APIs to see which one I'm actually going to use.
That's awesome. It looks like you have a good idea. Good. Cisco, what do you got?
Man, I got nothing.
Got nothing.
No, I'm just playing. Um, I am going to show you what I have actually.
Oh,
Um,
show off.
don't hate, elevate, Joe.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Uh, let's see here. So, mine is basically it's a social event. It's a social event app. It's kind of taking Evite, Eventbrite, and Facebook and combining them together with allowing users to create their own profile, their own personal profile, create their own personal events or private events for like family members and friends to attend. Like if you have a wedding, birthday party, you name it, right? And you don't want the whole public to know about it, but you just want to send it out to close family and friends. Um, I've been working on the front end for the most part, because I pretty much have like the model set up for the back end model set up for the events. Um, so working on the front end of it, and I've integrated creating the account page, logging in, and so say for instance, I got a dummy account here. His name is John Doe. Use password. So I already have this working. To where like he logs in, you'll see your dashboard there, and then the public events, private events, it greets the user, hello John by name. You can edit profile. So you can go in here, you can edit any of the information to change it. Like I'll change this to just I'll do Acme. So can change any information. You actually can upload a avatar. So I have that working.
Why is it not
Um,
showing now? It should just show
well,
right here.
yeah, I now that part I haven't implemented yet. This is just the uploading aspect of it that I created. So, you can go in here and choose a file, right? So I was just testing. That's as far as I've gotten so far for that part.
Now,
Um,
dude, show the image as their little circle picture at their
right.
login. That's how
Yeah.
that's how Outlook does it.
That's
That's
the
dope.
plan. That's the plan. I'm gonna have it right here
Yeah.
next to their
Yep.
name, right?
Oh, Google
Um,
does it like that too.
Yeah, and then you can save changes, and I got messages. I use the Django. Oh, the Django. I always want to say it. Django message middleware to actually show different. Say, like for instance, if you enter an incorrect format for the date of birth, the 23/010, it'll tell you error updating your profile, right? And enter valid date. So that I have going. Let's see. Oh yeah. Here's this. I'm just getting back. I'm just making sure here I can see the data, right? For what I currently have in the model, the event title, description, starts, ends, location. I plan on implementing the Google Maps to actually have a my plan is to have a snapshot of the current location, you know, like they do when you see it on the map, right, with the pin drop.
Mhm.
And then once they click on it, it'll open up Google Maps and have the information already pre-filled in there. And you know, so for your directions, right? I also wanted to use the weather API for the events detail page, just to show the weather for that day of the event. So, you know, when you're going to go to the event, you can look at the event. You can also see what the weather is going to be to know, you know, okay, well, is it going to rain? You know, is it going to snow? You know, whatever, right? But along with that,
That's lame. Change it to I upload a picture of myself with my outfit, and it gives me style tips on how to improve my outfit for the big event.
yeah, you're going too far.
That's better, dude. No one cares about the weather, bro. Incorporate some sexy AI into it, dude.
Uh-huh. I'm keeping it as simple as I can right now. I'm just, hey, I'm
I'm
not
just
trying
saying
to
that's an
over.
idea. Stretch
Yeah.
goal.
Well, now this is so you should really see, like, I actually already kind of did the what is it called? I already created the mock-up for what I really want it to look like when it's all said and done. Um, so it's gonna have some pretty cool, like it's gonna have my whole I want to work on this even after we're done, right? So I got like likes, I got share features, share functionality where you know, you can send the information to your guests via text message, email, or what have you, you know. And then I also have a you can save the dates, right? You can where I want to you click on the event information, like you click on the event information and it will put it in your calendar. It'll put everything in your calendar with the event title, description, the start and end time, location, and all that stuff. And you can submit it in different like Outlook, Yahoo, Office 365, or whatever else mail. Oh yeah, Apple Mail, right? So I got some pretty cool little, you know, shortcuts and features for people to use, and actually make it a little easier for them to keep track of, you know, keep track of their events. And also where the people who attend, it'll show how many people are going to attend. And the people who do RSVP, they'll be able to have access to actually comment and leave their own photos, videos, and comments in the event page, you know, during and after the event is over, if the user permits them to.
Easy. That's kind of sounding like Facebook groups there, buddy.
Well, I said Facebook. I said all combined, right? So
Yeah. Alrighty, Cisco. It looks like you've made a lot of progress, man. Good. Slightly better than the last time we talked with you. Really did have nothing, but that's okay.
yeah.
Clearly you have something now. Alrighty, dude. Man, I'm actually kind of impressed. I did not expect everyone to have something, honestly. So shows what I know. Nothing. Probably the best tip that I can give you at this point is definitely don't underestimate how long it's going to take to complete it. And if you can, and this is a requirement of the application actually, I mean of the assignment, you want to deploy to AWS. Why is that? Well, one, so you learn how to do it. But two, when you create a README and put it on your GitHub profile, you can actually put the application deployed link on there. It's much easier than cloning something and like running it, right? So that'd be kind of dope. And if anyone ever wanted to see it, they could just click on the link, be like, oh yeah, I built this. It does, you know, X, Y, and Z. Again, having something that no other junior dev might have. Make sense?
Yeah.
Alrighty. I am going to pause the recording here. All right, everyone. I asked Cisco, I jumped into Cisco's breakout room earlier and I asked him what he was working on. And he actually got Google authentication for his personal project. working. So I'm going to hand it over to him right now. He's the one sharing his screen to kind of walk us through how he implemented this. I think this is a great way to do authentication, simply because I'm a huge fan of not only like Google Authenticate for like pretty much any website. He's going to show the Google one, which is probably the most popular one on the internet at the moment. But there's a bunch. You've seen a bunch of them. You can like authenticate and log in with like Facebook and Google and Pinterest or what, a plethora of other um, uh, websites. He's just going to show this one because I think it's pretty useful. And feel free to incorporate this in your project as well. Go ahead, Cisco.
All righty, guys. So I'm briefly step through this Google Auth. If you set up your cloud account and you pretty much go to console.google.com, set up your project. You'll start out with this. You can name your project whatever you want. You don't need to put organization in, just click create. And once it creates your project, you can do select project. And then you're going to look under API and services here. And for the Google Auth, you want to set up credentials. You click on credentials. And here is where you can set up all your API keys, your OAuth client IDs, and so on and so forth. For the Google Auth consent screen to use it, you need to do a consent screen for your users, right? So they'll know what they're authorizing pretty much. So it's pretty simple. You just fill out this information with the app name. Like for instance, my app was called Sociable. You put in your own email. It's the only thing that pretty much shows up for you. I'll just go ahead and pretend like I'm gonna. You want to click on for your audience. So I'm just setting up a test account. So, available for any test user with the Google account, right? Pretty much puts it in testing mode. So for this, since I'm using the development, since I'm working with development right now, I'm just going to set up an external one. And for a testing account, contact, you can add any email address you want. Just put that in there. And then just click I agree, continue, finish. That sets that up for you. And then, of course, you want to create your Google Auth client. You give it an application type. Of course, we're using web application. You have Android, Chrome, all that good stuff. So, but for this, I use web application. You can name this whatever you want it. You can add, so for JavaScript origins, like whenever you want to use, for our case, when we're using APIs or URLs, this JavaScript origin will be associated with the URL that you have set up in your project, right? So for this case, I actually was able to point it to, so it could be localhost. This could be localhost 8000 social auth complete. So this is just suggested, like kind of like a suggested path, I guess, for Google Auth outside of your login screen or your login URL. You notice I have HTTPS here. For Google Auth to work, it uses HTTPS. When you go live, it's going to need a HTTPS connection for a secure login, which is what you need whenever your users are providing any of their personal data, right? So, but I'm mimicking a HTTPS live server, and I'll kind of show you how I did that too. But at any rate, authorized JavaScript URLs. Then you got your redirect URL that you want to use. And this one here, it just, all you need to do is just put in the 8000, port 8000, and whatever the web address is, and just go from there. I know it's telling me I'll do, see if I can fake this. I don't know if it'll let me. I don't think it will. But at any rate, once you do that, you will go to your data. I'll just pull up my other one here. Kind of just didn't want to, but so here's eventually what you kind of want to have when you're done. You got your authorized JavaScript origins. This is the redirect URL here. And then of course, let's see, where's it? Ins branding. Oh yeah, app information, app name. Down here, you have to put in the authorized domain for it to use, right? So of course I use the sociable.com. You don't have to put HTTP or HTTPS in. You just put your web address or web host name here. And that's pretty much it for that. The settings takes quite a bit to get it actually set up properly on this end. In your settings.py file, you'll notice I allowed the allowed hosts. I have sociable.com, I have localhost, and 127.0 addresses that are allowed. What that does, it pretty much allows you to access your sites through those 3 different domains, right? So if I put localhost in there, 127 or sociable, it all works, right? But that's what that's for. This uses a package in the Django in order to enable social authentication and social logins. The Django comes with a package called social_Django. I keep saying the Django. social_Django. Once you put that in, you actually have to go down here. You have to actually add the authentication backend, social core backends, for Google Auth. I'm using the social core backends Google Auth 2. Then you have to add your Google authorization key and secret, and I have those in an environment file. So that's what that's pointing to. The config Google auth key and auth secret is pointing to those variables in the environment file. And along with that, I actually created a social auth pipeline here, which basically has all the stuff where I can actually enable it to interact with my user and profile database. So when the Google authorized user logs in with their Google account, it automatically will create an account in the in my profiles and users here. And you'll notice that it also has the Python social auth actually created this here, or I added it to the apps. That's what that social underscore Django is about, right? So it's actually, you'll see it actually add or show who's used their social authorization to log in when I do it here. So I just sign in with Google. Well, I already did it once, so it's pretty much saved for me. But when I refresh it here, you'll notice, it shows my Google Auth sign in here, and here it created the user. And then in profiles, it created a profile, or it started it, right? So, of course, without populating the date of birth and photo for me or avatar.
Can you log out and log in, Cisco?
Yes. So log out, log in again. And I set this up here because I'm just going to use somebody else, right?
Can you log in with Google though?
Oh yeah.
On that button click, where's it redirecting? How did it get in your, how did it get your information? I'm a little confused there. I didn't see you punch
So-
it in.
Yeah, so it's saved in the so that's saved in the local storage. It's saving it and see as you can see, and then it just whenever a user, well, for the social part, whenever the social user logs in, it saves it in local storage with their credentials and everything, and that way you don't have to keep going through the process. Initially, when I did it, it had the authorization. It asked me to authorize this website
Through
to use.
Google.
Right, right.
Got it.
Yeah. So so that's what that's doing there. But yeah, when I change anything, and I actually wanted to kind of show doing it with the now I one thing I did notice that when I log out here, so like when I log out and then I do log in again. Now, what if I wanted to sign in with a different Google account, right? So that's one thing I noticed that I haven't figured out. Even when I delete it here, like delete it in the profiles, like I can delete the profile. Um, so I'm working on that too, though. But can delete this, and I guess I have to delete the cache in order for right now, in order for it to really work, right? So but
Remove
even
it from local storage.
yeah. So let's see, where is it?
Session storage, probably.
It's gone.
No?
No, it's not in there.
Check your cookies.
There it goes.
There it is.
Okay.
Oh, it's being repopulated.
Yeah, it's repopulated. Clear. That's strange. Let's see. Let's try that.
Refresh it and see what happens.
Yeah, it's populated. Yeah.
All right, no worries, no worries.
Yeah. But yeah, let me go to Firefox developer here and see.
Oh, good idea.
All right. So just paste it in there. All right. So this, yeah. So this is what you see when you do the HTTPS, faking of it, right? So you have to approve it. And then I do sign in with Google. And so this is what you see. Oh, great. Well, I guess let's see if it. Okay. So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's let's see does it do the same thing here? Log in again. Yeah, it's saving it. So it's saving it. I gotta figure out why it's doing that. But I didn't know that's the way it was built in. I don't I don't know if I gotta figure out why or how to make it. Oh, I remember now. There is a way to get it to stop or to purge everything from your login. So but yeah, once you set that up, I actually like just had the login. Let's see here. Where's my form? So I got my admin, I got my templates. Where is it? It's not the views. Social app accounts. Oh, authentication PY had to go down. Oh, that's just to create the profile, to automatically create the profile. And then my logins were where I can't find them now. Templates. Oh, okay. Registration. Yeah. The login HTML. So this is where I actually added the links, to use the Google Auth login. And that's just using that the Django template, to do that. So it's pretty much it. I know it's a lot, but It wasn't that, it really isn't that hard to do.
Thank you, Cisco. That was excellent, dude. Nice job.
Yep.
Part of the reason why I wanted Cisco to show this to everyone is I think a lot of you are using a version of the Google API, mostly Google Maps. So I thought this was useful. I think I mentioned to a couple of you, hey, once you're done doing whatever you were working on today, mess with that API. Because as Cisco showed just now, it's not that hard, but it is a little involved if you've never used it before. Make sense? And you can have multiple projects with multiple API keys if you're using multiple services from Google. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That was excellent, Cisco. Nice job, dude. Any questions for Cisco about his implementation? Alrighty. That's all I have for you guys today. Nice job today. Get some rest. Class Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Catch you later. Nice
Have a
work.
good
Bye.
night, everyone. Thank you.